What, me worry? I'm not worried. Neither are the Rangers yet. They're coming home. That's good. The offense, that's not good. But we got answers. We talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Something we all, at least all homeowners, are a part of, home improvement. And that is exactly what the Rangers plan to be a part of this weekend as they come home now for a 6-game homestand against 2 teams from Los Angeles. And we welcome you into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Me, John Radigan, Jeff Wilson, Elijah Smith, the prophet over there. And the Rangers, of course, are off today. And that's okay, because basically you could argue that they were off yesterday and maybe even the day before and Friday. They have not hit the ball well at all yet this year. However, several things to consider about that, Jeff, and we'll get to some more of the minute numbers and details in a minute. But first and foremost is just Seattle, right?
Yeah.
That's all you need to say. They are, 8-25?
It's outrageous.
It's
outrageously bad.
Bad.
And I think
bad.
they've lost.
Since 2020, they have the lowest winning percentage of any team at any opponent. So the White Sox, who have pretty much been terrible forever, don't have a worse winning percentage anywhere than what the Rangers do in Seattle.
It's just weird. And it was the Astros there for a while.
Yeah.
But it was understandable because the Astros were really good, and it was when the Rangers were not really good. And now it's kind of evened out, and I don't know if they include the postseason in that. If so, then it's definitely evened out a little bit. But, it's just you just don't have a good feeling when you go to Seattle. You know it's going to be a tough series. The weather's going to be chilly. I know it looked nice and sunny, but believe me, it was
still
not
cold.
Warm.
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving on. Get to only have to go there one more time, I guess, this season. So that's the good news. And try to figure it out by then.
Yeah, and it's a good point. I heard somebody talking about this, that maybe MLB Network somewhere, that even that series in Seattle at the end of the 23 season, right? Like all you need to do is go up there and win. You win the division. Oh, my. They didn't. I mean, they won the game they needed to.
Yeah,
they won the game they needed to in order to ensure that they'd make the playoffs. But they lost the other 2, or was it a 4-game series?
It was a 4-game
series. 4-gamer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the last day was 1-0, and it's like, oh man, Rangers don't score.
Yeah,
they crap away the division, and now they get to hop on a plane for 5.5 hours and go play Tampa.
Yeah,
who was pretty good, 98-win Tampa team.
Yeah,
always good at home, and well, the rest is history.
Yeah, pretty good history, by the way. Probably the best history in Rangers history. So, already there you see a question from Rarities about a day off for Marcus Semien. Yeah, so now it's 2 days off for Marcus Semien. And it is interesting. We've talked, obviously, a lot about him. And we talked yesterday about the fact that, look, you can't you don't have an option at the leadoff spot. Jeff wrote a column about this, right? The options are very limited to replace him at the leadoff spot. Not that really the Rangers would consider doing that, especially not an old school manager like Bruce Bochy after 16 games. That's just not a large enough sample size when you look at the back of his baseball card. And if the back of his baseball card had a month-by-month breakdown, it would show March and April are always terrible months for Marcus Semien.
Yeah, throughout his career, he's like a .230 hitter in the first month. It's not great, and he's had, there's always exceptions. He has a pretty good month. 23 had a good first month, but for the most part, notoriously, traditionally, and just look at the career averages. He's a slow starter. Okay, great. You know the root of the problem.
Yeah.
maybe figure out a way to get him going sooner. Maybe, I don't know, play him more in spring training. I don't know what the answer is, but it shows the statistics and everything that it's gonna improve. The day off yesterday was strictly one of those, one game off, but you get 2 days. You get 2 days and only missing one game. An old manager's trick there. And I'd asked Bruce Bochy, the last instance we were talking about, well, how is Josh Smith going to play? And, was it still the manager's intention to give Marcus Semien days off? And he said yes. So I think that was just a day off. Maybe it does help that he was, came while he was in the midst of a funk. And I'm sure he went about his pregame work the same and probably went to the cages during the game and got warmed up in case he was needed to pinch hit. But watching a game sometimes just helps guys out. Maybe they can, instead of, finishing their bat and going and looking at an iPad or whatever they do, maybe they finish their bat or watching at bat, not finish their at bat, but watch somebody's complete at bat and say, hey, that looked pretty good. Maybe that's something I could do or an approach I could take. So who knows? But I would expect him to be the leadoff hitter tomorrow and going forward.
Yeah, pretty much probably for the rest of the series. He doesn't take that. He doesn't want or take that many days off. Career-wise in March and April, his OPS is 393.
Yikes.
So, in March and April. This year so far, he's at 387. So, both those numbers are yikes,
Yeah.
But it's only 6, thousandths or whatever that is in decimal points down from what it normally is. So this isn't that unusual. Actually, his worst season OPS-wise for March and April was 2022, his first season here. And I kind of remember that where we were all kind of going, wow. And see, I don't think Seager got off to a great start that year.
Seager didn't even hit 250. Though.
Yeah, and so we're kind of going, paid all this money for these guys, huh? Well, that turned out well. But obviously it did, and the Rangers knew what they were doing, and it turned out as well as it possibly could have. Maybe not in 2022, but certainly in 2023. So, that is the top of the order, right? It's the table setter. It's the guy that, ideally gets everybody headed in the right direction and sets an offensive tone for the entire game. So everybody just, keep fingers crossed that Marcus Semien, finds it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I think the point of what I wrote yesterday was that, there's not a better solution, but also I said explicitly, it's not the biggest problem with the offense.
No.
Right now, it's the biggest problem is Jock Peterson. I mean, the Rangers have had guys on base ahead of him multiple times in the Seattle series, and he didn't do his job. He didn't produce, and that's really hard to do, to score runs when the guy in the middle of the lineup is not producing, when he's hitting well under 100, and it's, and then you have Adolis Garcia ahead of him now, and Adolis has been a little streaky, as Adolis always is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there are guys misfiring throughout the lineup. Really, if you want to pick a part of the lineup you feel the best about, it's the bottom of the lineup.
Yes.
Because Heim has been really good. And, when Josh Smith was down there, he was really, really good. And Leote's been hot and cold too, but done some good things.
Yeah.
You're not expecting your number 9 hitter to bat 450. So, that's probably the spot, the segment of the lineup you feel the best about right now.
Yeah, and Jock Peterson was, talked to somebody about it this weekend in Seattle, and not surprisingly, his thought is, this is a slump the likes of which I've had many, many times in my career. However, this one is coming at the beginning of the year, and we always hear that. When you slump at the beginning of the year, or any number sort of gets magnified at the beginning of the year because you just notice it more. You're paying closer attention. But if he had a stretch like this in mid-June, you might not even really notice. Of course, it depends on how the team does during that stretch. But, really, Like there's no team in the American League that has more wins than the Rangers, right?
Yeah.
The best teams in the American League all have 9. So, and the Rangers are one of them at 9-7, but they all have 9 wins. So they're doing fine in spite of all of this.
Yeah, that's just it. They aren't clicking on all cylinders. They haven't had really one game where everything's gone right. Maybe against the Rays, you could say that. Maybe the other day against the Cubs, you could say
I was going to say the getaway day.
But you know, and here they are, and just doing just fine. You know, and could it be better? Sure. Could it be worse? Yeah, it could be worse. You know, I mean, some of those games against the Red Sox, the Rangers easily could have lost those, but instead they won 3 out of 4. And you know, the saying is that good teams know how to win close games. So I still think the Rangers are a good team. You know, 2 weeks hasn't shattered my belief in that. And you just, you know, and that's something that, you know, through all of our combined years, John, you learn that a baseball season, you just go through stuff like this, and everything turns out just fine. And the thing is, it's going to happen this month. It's probably going to happen in June or July. It's going to happen 3 or 4 times in the season where they just go and have a crappy road trip. And you know, it's what is it? It's, you know, play 60 well. You're going to play 60 well. You're going to play 60 poorly. It's what you do in the middle. 40 there. Maybe it's 50, 50, and 50. You know, but the point being, there's still an opportunity for this team. There's so much time left in the season, and just, you know, you got to bank on what you know about the club and the players and their history. So you feel pretty good about that. Yeah,
and where you go back to on that is you go back to what the scouts start, at least they start putting it together, right? It all starts with scouting. And the scouts, as we've mentioned a few times with the bullpen this year, it's a microcosm of this. Scouts did a pretty good job knowing who was who and what was what to construct this bullpen on an absolute budget.
Yeah, and that's just it. You know, it's always seems like a budget signing, and for the bullpen, that's just the Rangers' history. I know last year was a little different with Robertson for what was it, 11.5. Chris Martin was their big expenditure this year at 5.5. So there's a pretty big difference there. But Kirby Yates was their best reliever last year, and he was at $4.5 million or $4.25 even. So it's scouting, finding the right timing on guys, hitting them. When they're maybe motivated for like a rebound season, or you see something in the second half of a season like they did with Luke Jackson that attracted them to him. But I mean, these scouts just, they scout so much, and then there's the analytics and everything that's available. And you can say, a guy could say, boy, if he throws this pitch more in this count or to these hitters, it could make him more effective. And then they find out who they like and measure it up and see what the money is, and voila. But it's generally in Rangers history been not an area where they have a lot of big expenditures. And so you kind of will look at these bullpens at the start of seasons and be like, gosh, they're really missing some arms there. And then, 2015, 2016, those are the teams that come to mind, and this thing turns out okay.
Sure. And were you with us yet on the beat for the Eric Gagne?
I missed that by a year.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But that was sort of a classic case of hitting a guy at the right time. Again, They weren't planning on keeping him. They were planning on, hopefully, he'll do well, and then we'll trade him, which is what they did. But that's a classic example of a guy like that, like you're just referencing. And again, different circumstances, but finding a guy and trying taking a flyer. Scouts think he's got something, and you do it at just the right time, and it pays dividends.
Yeah, and interesting. Even behind that signing, there might have been the intention of trading him. When you
no
sign
doubt
a guy like that, and they did, and that was the David Murphy trade.
We got David Murphy for that. So
anyway, but yeah, these scouts, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's the point. It all starts with that, and then it materializes. So lots to talk about stuff in the chat. We want to talk pitching. We want to give you an update on Jack Leiter and how he is progressing. It's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it is time for us to talk about our friends at Empire Today.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. They are so good at doing your flooring. They bring the showroom to you. And that is just fantastic for you, because what they do, they come to your house, they take a picture of the room, or you can take it on yours and bring it to them, either way, and then they will superimpose, magic of apps and so forth. They will put that floor, a new floor, in that room with your furniture and your drapes and all that other kind of stuff. So it's really a worthwhile app. It's really a great company, and it's something you really want to do this time of year, is get some new floors and get it going and get that place spruced up. If spring cleaning, what the heck? Why not spring flooring? Empire Today has a great offer for you. They'll come out and do a free estimate, and you'll get $350 off your new floors if you go to EmpireToday.com and use the code DLLS. That's Empire Today for all of your flooring needs.
You know what? My wife, she on yet another work trip this week, and she got up early and left. And so I had to, I'm in charge of the kids this week, and had to get them ready to go. And, really got up out of bed and was feeling pretty good. Got a lot of stuff done. And boy, I could really use a nap.
Hit a wall, didn't you?
I hit a wall. And you know what it is, John?
Aging.
It is. It's aging. More than that, though, it's dysfunctional
mitochondria. Oh, God.
And so our friends at Timeline have the cure for that. They have this patented agreement called MitoPure. It's a postbiotic nutrient, clears out that bad mitochondria, your cells' battery packs, and it helps you get through the day better. You'll feel better. You'll have more energy, focus, and I could really use some of that right now. So here's what you got to do. You go to timeline.com/DLLS today to get 10% off your order of MitoPure. Timeline.com/DLLS.
Yeah. All right. So first, Jack Leiter, he threw another 35-pitch bullpen. So it was a 35-pitch bullpen with a Band-Aid on, a 15-pitch bullpen with the Band-Aid off, and then yesterday he threw a 35-pitch bullpen with a sort of a glue, which I was wondering about that. Is there something that you can put on that blister that will still give you the feeling? Like a Band-Aid, you're not going to have feeling. But this glue apparently still allows you to sort of have maybe not exactly the same, but some feeling in that finger. And anyway, he did that, and the next step was to see how he was, the next day. But he did very well from that, and the thought is now, Jeff, he's going to go out on a rehab assignment. That's what Boach said was the plan, was to have him go out on a rehab assignment and then, hopefully be ready to pitch probably early in the first series of the next road trip.
Yeah, the glue thing, as you know, John, there are lots of blister remedies or shortcuts or cover-ups. And, I remember, when Yu Darvish missed out on that perfect game, the next day he had a blister.
Yeah.
And it was something that lingered. And they did have to they used glue in his instance, in his case. And that it's not unusual at all. And Jack, the last time I saw him on the last homestand, he showed me the finger, and it looked okay. It looked like a new layer of skin had formed, but it wasn't thick enough.
Yeah.
And they're worried about that tearing, and if that tore, then it would be a real problem. So it sounds like they're being extra cautious with this thing and making sure they're taking the proper steps. So if he's able to throw with the Band-Aid, even if he can't have a great feel for the ball, at least he's keeping his arm going,
right,
and able to do some stuff there. He's thrown twice now without a Band-Aid, so you figure that's a pretty good sign. And if they feel good enough to send him out to a rehab assignment this week, I think Frisco is back home, so it'd probably be Frisco, and then send him and get him ready for that series at Sacramento, where he pitched there last year. Obviously, he didn't face the A's. He faced the Sacramento River Cats, and he saw seven shutout innings, 5 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts. So maybe the thinking there is, hey, get him back to a place where he's performed well in the past, and knows it and get him back in there. But it's all good news. It appears to be all good news with Jack Leiter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just a fantastic opportunity for the Rangers because really through all of this, the pitching on this last road trip was actually okay. I mean, Jack's start was one of the best on the road trip, and the others, Jacob deGrom, as we mentioned yesterday, Jacob deGrom said, I didn't do anything well. I mean, in his own words, I didn't do anything well. I didn't hold runners. I walked 4 people. I didn't do anything well. And he's hard on himself, and he did lots of things well, but not in his high standards. And even Eovaldi yesterday, I mean, I gave the team a chance to win, but he plunks a couple of batters there at his last inning, and that scored what was that insurance run. It wouldn't have mattered, as it turns out, but that was the 3rd run of the ball game.
Yeah. He's hard on himself. All these great guys are hard on themselves. Even the bad ones are hard on themselves, and he does what a veteran often does, and that's shoulder all the blame.
Yeah.
He knows that the team.
Yeah. In fact, he said, this one's on me.
He knows that the team is hitting under 200. He knows that. And so he knows that he probably needed to go out there and not allow more than 1 or 2 runs. And it didn't happen. But if anybody knows what's going on with the team, it's that guy. He observes things, not just about pitching, but offense, from, seeing what other hitters do to attack him, how other teams pitch, the Rangers. I mean, it's crazy how deep his knowledge runs about the game and the team. But anyway, yeah, he was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he got a lot of help from Hobie Milner, and sometimes you need a little help from your friends in the bullpen. But obviously there are no concerns there about Eovaldi, and it'll be better the next time. But the next time's going to be against the Dodgers, so it's going to be pretty tall task for him.
Yeah, it'll be a very one of those very dramatic type moments. Really, that whole game would be a little bit like yesterday was if you had a chance to watch any of the Masters. It was pretty dramatic sports viewing yesterday, and I got a feeling that Jacob deGrom against the Dodgers, right, the best against the best, iron sharpens iron and all that kind of thing. So, but anyway, yeah, so that's Jack Leiter's situation right now, and the question there I see from Gallagher Champ is, do we send Rocker down when Jack's ready and hopefully get him right? We talked a little bit about this yesterday. That's certainly one of the options when it's time to put Jack back on the roster.
Yeah, I think so, and it's I think whenever Patrick Corbin pitches next, and it's looking like it's going to be tomorrow,
yeah.
How good is it going to be? And here's another thing: do you want Patrick Corbin to face the Dodgers?
Right.
Which would be the start on Sunday. So they do have some options, and really, if they just were to swap Molly and Corbin, it would be probably advantageous for them to do that. So we'll see. I haven't heard back officially yet from somebody I texted about it. So hopefully that comes out soon. But it's back to Rocker. I would think it would be Rocker or Corbin. And one easy thing you can do is you can send Corbin to the bullpen.
And then send one of the other guys out.
Send out a Bosley, so that's one option. I don't think Rocker to the bullpen is an option.
Yeah,
I think they want him to start wherever it is they deem is best for him. And if the bullpen's getting, or if the rotation's getting by, and you can live with some bumps and bruises from your young guys, then I think they'll let him stay. But he needs to show some improvement here, because one on, one off, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what good that's doing anybody. If he's not able to repeat from one start to the next a success, then it feels like maybe there's a flaw there in the delivery, something he's not able to repeat. Because I don't think it's scouting reports. Just kind of reading some more about the start the other night. He didn't feel good about his slider. so he was too heavy on the curveball, and then he was falling behind. And no matter how good you are, when you fall behind in counts, these hitters are going to sit fastballs, and if you make a mistake with one, they're going to hit it hard.
Yeah, and he was missing with the sinker. He tried to, use that sinking fastball, and it was catching too much of the zone. But you're right about the slider. He used it very rarely in that game, and that's generally been his pitch. That's his go-to.
Sure.
If they do get to the point to send him down, and they're way smarter about this than we are, but he's got to go down there and work on this pitch mix stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we watched him a few times in the minor leagues last year, and it'd be fastball, slider, out.
Right.
And he didn't have to throw very many pitches because he was dominating, particularly at the AA level last year. So the pitch mix is huge, and it is, as he's learned, quickly here at the major league level.
Yeah, you just don't see guys who have two pitches.
No.
And because, if one of them's not working that day, you're in trouble. And that's why Cody Bradford added a curveball, and why he's trying to just give him something else to think about.
Sure.
And instead of fastball changeup. So, all these pitchers do it. Tim Wakefield had one pitch, but even occasionally Wakefield would try to throw a fastball in there.
Yeah.
And same thing with R.A. Dickey. He had a little more pitching moxie to him, but it's just hard to get through it with two pitches. You can do it in the minors,
and you can do it in the bullpen,
for sure. But like Evaldi, all right, he's got 5 or 6 pitches to choose from. So if 3 aren't working, well, guess what? He's got 3 more that are. And DeGrom with the curveball now, which is a great, fantastic pitch.
Yeah.
He has 4 pitches that can help him, when his fastball command's not there. So yeah, you got to have multiple pitches. You got to be able to command them all too. It's not just, oh yeah, I can throw a curveball. Well, anybody can throw a crappy curveball up there, but it's got to be something that you can land as a strike, and that's, going to help you get out.
And command, right? It's just got to be a quality strike. These hitters are too good. If your sinker, as it was, with Rocker the other day, if your sinker is just catching a little too much of the hot zone, they're going to hit it, and they're going to knock you out of the game, which is exactly what happened the other day with Kumar. So, I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see. I think they're going to continue to be careful, with him. He's too valuable of a future commodity, of a piece that could be such a huge part of the future. They want to do this, they want to do this carefully, and of course, they want to do this right.
Yeah, and you're not doing a guy any favors if you're not putting him in a position to succeed.
Right.
And maybe him going to AAA, if that's the case, gets him to the point where his body's synced up and his pitches are working right and everything's good, so that when he comes back, he has a better opportunity to succeed. So we'll have to wait and see, monitor that one, because that's definitely an issue that's going to present itself next week when Jack is able to come off the IL.
Yeah, so we'll be keeping a close eye on Jack Leiter, close eye on Kumar Rocker. We expect that Jacob deGrom will be himself, and I think that most of these guys, and he in particular, Jeff, seems to be that guy that's like, he's angry next time he goes out on the mound after what he thought was, a performance where he didn't do anything right.
Yeah, and anger's not a bad thing.
No,
if you can contain it and
it
motivates you and makes you compete a little bit harder. There's a little fire, and another thing about Rocker that Bruce Bochy has talked about is tempo. Pitch with tempo. Keep these guys off balance. That's another thing. Don't let him get too comfortable in there. And you'd think the pitch clock would help with that, but Kumar doesn't move fast for anybody. And that's something else that Bruce Bochy has talked about. But yeah, hey, a little anger, whatever it takes.
No, whatever it takes to get back to yourself. And then, of course, pitchers try to mimic what the guy before them in the rotation did. So, get one of those starts by Jacob deGrom, and the next thing you know, you might string a few of those type performances together. More coming up. We get to the power rankings. We get to lots more of your questions, and we continue to talk baseball. Rangers are off today. They are second place in the American League West at 9-7 after 16 games. We talk power rankings next. Did the Rangers fall out of the top 10? We'll find out next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
You know, John, I'm looking at our reads, and the one that I've kind of has intrigued me the most here lately is Monarch Money.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because we are just paying our taxes.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, holy cow, we probably should manage our money a little bit better next year. Whatever the case, and tomorrow is tax day for those of you who haven't filed yet. You can get extensions and stuff, but I don't even know how to do that. But, anyway. All right. So Monarch Money, easy way to track your finances, and it helps you get into the position to where you can have the kind of life you want. And if you have kids and you need to figure out how to save for their colleges, Monarch can clear up your financial picture for you so that you can do all the things and then still have some money left over when it's time to retire. I guess I'm getting there, John. I mean, I don't know if I'm ever going to retire,
up on
but
it.
it's
that's
A,
me.
college, and B, retirement. I don't know if either one is going to be feasible. So anyway, I'm off topic, but get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use the code DLLS at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's a heck of a deal. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code DLLS.
Yeah, and save. Take a little bit of the money you save, and maybe you'll get a return on your income taxes. Some money back, and you can buy a neon sign at Saturday Neon. They're fantastic. They are LED neon signs, so they're not the old traditional kind with gas running through the tubes. And the other thing about those LED lights, man, inside there, they just don't burn out. And but they look just like old-fashioned neon, and they're done in the motif of 50 of your favorite colleges or universities. I'm sure yours is on the list if you went to one of those 50 schools. So you go to SaturdayNeon.com, and you get a 10% discount if you use the code DLLS at SaturdayNeon.com. So the new power rankings are out. They do it every week. And I find it fascinating. And there are, Jeff, I don't know if you've looked at them.
I didn't. I always like this to be a surprise.
Yeah, I do too. There are only 3 American League teams in the top 10.
Okay.
Which 3 American League teams do you think would be in the top 10?
Boy, I'm going to go Royals.
Okay.
Rangers, and I'll go Angels.
Very interesting. The 3 American League, you got none of them right.
Oh,
by
good.
the way.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's a good thing this isn't our sleeper pick poll thing. The 3 American League teams that are in the top 10 are 7, 8, and 9. And those 3 teams are in order. In 7th place in your power rankings, the New York Yankees.
Come on.
Down from 3.
Okay.
And they've been hitting well, but not in the middle of their lineup, So anyway, number 8, up from 13. The Detroit Tigers.
Ooh, baby.
The Detroit Tigers. This might be their year again. And then number 9, previously 5. Last week they were 5th in the rankings. Your Texas Rangers. Oh, and look at that. They start the thing with Jacob deGrom's quote, "Didn't do anything well," is their description. Didn't locate. Oh, here's the exact quote. Didn't locate well, walked 4 guys, didn't hold runners with 2 strikes, didn't locate well, was all over the place, put us in a bad spot, and the bullpen had to come in for a lot of innings. That's on me. I've got to do a better job. That's the total quote after that game on Friday from Jacob deGrom.
Ooh, Jacob. Yeah. Again, Hard on himself, but whatever.
Yeah, like we say, probably overly hard. But again, that's a veteran move, and that's a good thing. He takes the pressure. Coaches will do that, especially at the college level. That's all my fault. That's all my. It's not the kids, that type of thing. But anyway, yeah. So we've got those 3 American League teams in the top 10 of the power rankings. The only National League team below your Texas Rangers is the team they beat in the 2023 World Series.
Oh, I've heard of them.
The Arizona Diamondbacks.
Okay, so it was 1 through 6 was the National League, and then 7,
8, and 9.
Who was 7?
Yankees.
Yankees, Tigers, and then who?
Rangers.
See, I said Rangers. I got the Rangers right.
Oh, that's right. You did say Rangers. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, Dodgers are number 1, previously number 1. Padres, previously number 4, move up to number 2. The Phillies, previously number 2, make the slight fall to number 3. Mets, way up.
Ooh.
From number 9 to number 4 on the list.
Okay.
The Cubs, previously 6, slightly up to 5.
Okay.
Giants, I mean, again, are they still ahead of the Dodgers? I know the Padres and the Giants are ahead of the Dodgers in that division.
Giants had a nice series at Yankee
against
Stadium
the
this
Yankees.
week.
Yep, they did. So and the Giants are up to 6 from 8.
Okay.
So there's your power rankings, and it's just none of it matters until the end anyway. But it is interesting to see how again they base it not just on the week but on the team, and that means that the Rangers are still getting a lot of respect from the people who consider these things, and really it's their living. They have to make a living doing this.
And people understand baseball and what is happening here.
Yeah,
and they know that teams go through this stuff frequently, like we keep talking about. And I know it's doesn't make a lot of you guys out there feel any better. We got Natalie all ticked off at Leote. She's done with him, and then Nellis Harina is that I don't know if that's a person. Hello. Or if that's a saying. I hope it's not dirty.
Yeah, vulgar. Yeah.
But he's been kind of all over the team. Cole, it doesn't really matter who they throw if this team can't hit. That's a pretty good point, Cole. So anyway, and some shots at Jock. All right. Now they're well deserved, I think. But yeah, I mean and again, the baseball has taught me, John, how to not take a defeat so hard.
Yeah.
Whether it's I don't know what a personal defeat would be, a bad day. It's just like, all right, tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah.
These guys lose 5 times in a row, and it's like, all right, the next day, got a chance to win again. You get a do-over in baseball pretty much right away.
Yeah.
And so that's the mindset that these guys are in. Of course, they want to be performing better, but they know that if they stick with what works and has worked for them in the past, that everything will come together. It's just a matter of time. Marcus Semi's not going to hit 130 all year.
No.
Jock Peterson's not going to hit
70,
whatever
it
year.
is. Yeah.
Or
Jake Berger.
Right.
He's not going to hit 155 or whatever he's at right now all year.
It's just figuring it out.
And it's one of those things, and I've mentioned this once on the show before at the Fan Fest this year. I'd never heard it described this way, but I heard Chris Young, again, Rangers GM or president of baseball operations and a former major league pitcher, and he said, baseball players know that on any given day, they can be the worst player on the field. It's particularly acute for pitchers, right, who can just get bombed one day. But still, even hitters, they can come to the plate not having a clue against somebody and go 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And that same guy, he has to come to the ballpark the next day believing he's the best player in the stadium. Right? Yeah. And that's a tough one to overcome because, to your point, a bad day, we wake up after a bad day and like, oh, God, man, I don't know. I hope I can have a better day, right? We don't necessarily wake up and go, I'm still the best at what I do, right? Because we had a bad day. We're kind of beaten down by it. And that's what a team has to do too, right? The team, the same logic applies to the team. The team, which just went 1-5 on the road and couldn't hit their way out of a paper bag in Seattle, they've got to hit the field tomorrow in Arlington, and they will, believing that they're going to come out there. And I mean, they don't think about sweeps, but they're going to believe they're going to come out there and they're going to really put it to the Angels starting Tuesday night. And they'll believe it Wednesday and they'll believe it Thursday, which would be a sweep.
And then they'll believe it against the Dodgers too.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know what's going to happen in baseball, and in any game, every game is different. It may look the same, but something different happens to get you to this what might be the same result. Those back-to-back 1-0 games against the Reds, entirely different games. And but you believe in the guy next to you. You believe in your teammate. You know who they are. You know their track record, and just try not to put too much pressure on themselves. It's easy to do though. You've seen guys do that before. Sign these nice deals, and they come out and can't figure it out. Andrew McCutchen was one that comes to mind right away.
Yeah.
These guys care about how they're performing. They don't want to make outs, but they also know that there's a process involved. That if they stick with what works, eventually all this stuff is going to start turning out the way they usually have performed.
And there's nobody better at that, maybe in baseball, than Corey Seager and Marcus Semien. Those two guys are so detailed in their routine. I wouldn't call it superstition. It's not really superstition. It is a routine, and it's we see Seager's routine because it's away from the rest of the team. It's separate from batting practice, and it's usually in the hollows of any stadium. I mean, home and road. He sets up a camera, and he is in touch with his personal hitting coach daily before every single game. The routine does not vary, and I think that's one of the reasons his consistency has been so great through his career.
Yeah, and you can tell though he's made some changes this season too. His stance looks a little more open, but it has started to click for Corey Seager. Okay, he is hitting the ball hard. He's finding holes. I think Corey Seager is no longer a concern. He was there the first couple weeks. It's going to be fine. Again, it's not just three guys. I mean, there are three guys that really stand out, but really everybody except for, let's say, Josh Smith, Seager now, and Jonah Heim could use a kick in the shorts.
Sure.
They really could. Something to get them going. And it's coming. I think it's coming. If I have any long-term concerns about the offense, Peterson, because I don't know a lot about him, Adolis, because last year, and he's just so wildly inconsistent. And then center field, to Natalie's point, probably needs to be better. I don't think that the Rangers want to put Wyatt Langford in center field.
Mm-hmm.
They want him to sit in left field and just hit the ball. All right, they don't want him to have to worry about that. Josh Young is clicking too.
Yeah,
You're
good
correct.
point. All about Sports Zone. Yeah.
But back to Wyatt, when he comes back, I don't think they're going to put him in center. They really want to try to avoid that. He's fine, he said, playing center field. Josh Smith played center field pretty well in spring training, but I don't think they're there yet. I really think that they would try Pilar every day as opposed to, if they're that down on Leote. And then, of course, the center fielder that they really, really want is Evan Carter. And he's got the day off today because he's at AAA, and none of the minor league teams play on Mondays. But he was off Friday and Saturday. He played yesterday, 1-for-3 with a walk. He stole a base. Concerns about his health and the back thing. They're still learning how to manage it, I think. But the indications are he's able to play. If he's able to go out and steal a base, I think his back's feeling pretty good.
No doubt about it. And there was somebody in the chat earlier asking, is he going to be able to hit again? Yes, he is. He is too good at this. It's just there's a mental block or there's maybe a slight mechanical thing, but he will be who we've seen him be again. There's just almost no doubt a guy who works as hard as him and who has such a high baseball IQ. He'll be back. It's just a matter of when. We'll be back to talk about our cleanup segment. Lots to talk about there, including a tie to the Masters in baseball. That's coming next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. We screwed up. We forgot to mention at the top of the show.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
What a great, and I say we. When I say we, Jeff's like, you got a mouse in your pocket? That was your job. I screwed up.
No.
Because we've got this Die Hard deal. $36, and you could be a diehard. This shirt, if you wanted to order it, or that one would be $34.99. $36, you become a diehard. And for $1, basically, because you get the free shirt, for $1, you get all the content that we provide. Jeff's writing. I'm going to start doing some writing. We've got all the writers over there at the Cowboys and the Stars and the Mavs, right? And $1. Basically, $1 for the year. So we encourage you to become a diehard today. There you go, $36. And the Cowboys are getting credit for this because it's draft time, but it doesn't matter. It's you get the benefit. Whether you're a baseball, hockey, basketball, whatever your fandom is, it's $36 for you to join and become a diehard. And if you do that, you get 20% off all of our events, which include the Lone Star Open coming next Friday,
yeah,
25th.
Come play golf with us.
We'd love to have you join us.
I don't know. It's not really golf court etiquette to wear a T-shirt.
No.
But maybe because it's our tournament, we can,
That's why they need the polos.
Wear the shirt. But anyway, store.allcitynetwork.com. When you become a diehard for $36, you're going to go over there and get your free T-shirt. There's 6 or 7 Ranger shirts to choose from, maybe 8 now with the new additions, including the one I'm wearing, which John wore yesterday. We're monitoring each other's wardrobe so that we don't double up on the shirts.
Trying not to look like that.
Yeah. So anyway, do that because if you're going to be a diehard, you want to go all the way and have the look too.
So I mentioned the Masters and the high drama that it was yesterday. I've never seen a roller coaster. Any of the amusement parks in the world, and certainly in the United States, would be very proud to have a roller coaster with the dips and the valleys and the hills that Rory McIlroy had to climb yesterday after a double bogey on the first hole. He's the first golfer ever to have 4 double bogeys in a tournament and still win the Masters. You just don't make 4 doubles and win the Masters. He had a 125-yard shot in on 18. All he had to do was knock it on the green and 2-putt, and he wins. And he knocked it in the sand and then 2-putted, and luckily for him, that only made it so it was a tie. He had to go play extra. It was high drama, okay? And so anyway, there was a tie to baseball at the Masters yesterday, and really to the whole weekend. And that tie is Jackson Jobe, the Tigers pitcher, who is, one of the guys who's in the conversation. And now Jack Leiter has inserted himself into this conversation and others to be Rookie of the Year. And Jackson got his first major league win this weekend for the Detroit Tigers in Minnesota. And there is Jackson Jobe. After he got the win, he went and played golf. No, he's the little one. That's 2006. His dad is Brant Jobe, who played in the Masters 3 times, and that's the par 3 day when golfers go out there and they can take family. And I saw Jordan Spieth's kids hitting golf balls this weekend, and other people's young ones out there having fun, and that's a really fun part of it. And so anyway, that's probably appropriate that his first major league win, Jeff, was on Masters weekend.
That's pretty cool.
On moving day.
Yeah, and Brant Jobe is sticking out of my head for some reason. And I remember the name. I'm trying to figure out though if he has a local tie. They're from Oklahoma, right?
Yeah. Did he win the Colonial? Maybe.
Nah, I don't think he was that good. Maybe he just. I remember him from the old Sega golf game. He was on there. Maybe,
did he really? Yeah.
Maybe I was always beating the crap out of him. But he won 6 times in Japan. So that's pretty good. 4 times in Asia, twice in Canada. Big Hooters Tour win. He won the 1992 Colorado Open. So
Okay.
Maybe
you remember that.
I don't, but maybe it's starting to click a little bit here.
So does he have any PGA? Is the Colorado Open a PGA Tour win? No. So he has no PGA Tour wins, Brent?
Correct. His best finish in a major was tied for 14th at the 99 Masters, it appears.
Okay.
So that'll work.
That was 06 there, that picture we showed. And, yeah, All About Sports Zone says Ken Griffey Jr. was taking photos at the Masters.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I saw that. I mean, is that I wonder how he got a credential. Yeah, So, anyway, that was pretty cool, though. That's neat to see him that interested in doing that. And he went down with the great unwashed, as we like to call ourselves. So that was cool. It was a really fun weekend of golf in Augusta, Georgia, as normal. This weekend, too, also marked in Minnesota, the same place where the Jackson Jobe victory took place. It marked the unveiling of the Joe Mauer statue. Now, Joe Mauer, the longtime Twins catcher and then first baseman, deserves a statue.
For sure.
But I believe the Twins are overstatued.
They have a lot of statues.
They got a lot of statues. Yeah. The former owners, I think they're former, right? The Pollards, whatever their name. Both, mom and dad, they both have a statue. Now, here's who deserves a statue there. Kirby Puckett.
Yeah.
He's got one. Mauer. He's born and raised in Minnesota and played for the hometown team. And
Rod
Carew. But does Herbeck?
Yeah.
Does Oliva?
Hall of Fame. Oliva's in the Hall of Fame now.
Statue? I don't know. I think they're overstatued. I'm just saying I think that needs to be really special. But I believe Mauer is one of the guys that should have a statue.
100%.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so I'm still stuck on Brand Jobe. Sorry.
Yeah, come on.
I wasn't ignoring that. Brand Jobe moved to Denver at a young age. Okay, so maybe I remember from that. He did live in Southlake for a while.
Oh, here. Okay.
So I think it's it's all coming together. He was following me. That's right.
Yeah. Spencer Strider, and somebody mentioned Spencer in the chat. I think Nell mentioned Spencer he's one of those guys with the 2-pitch cheat code. Yeah. He's back Wednesday.
Yeah.
He's going to start in Toronto for the Braves after only making 2 starts last year. Due to the injuries that basically took the season from him, and to what Jeff always says, and I couldn't agree more. Took one of the game's great pitchers away from us. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I love seeing a guy like him pitch, even if it's against my team. And in fact, especially if it's against my team, if we do some of the things right, as the Rangers did against and I'm drawing a blank real quick on his name, the kid in Cincinnati who's got a 1
Hunter
ERA.
Green.
Hunter Green.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and the Rangers got him.
Yeah. Well, and then Justin Steele, who beat the Cubs.
They got
on Monday.
us. Yeah,
he's having Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
So it went from elbow inflammation to second opinion to season-ending elbow surgery. So that's not good.
No,
for the Cubs.
It's not good for the Cubs, and really, it's not a good look. The Rangers, they should have won that game. Poor bastard had a torn ligament and still stuck it to us.
I'm telling you, that cold weather. It was the cold weather.
Yeah, it's a heck of a point.
Yeah.
And I think
somebody needs to ask him.
Yeah, I think there's some narrative out there that in fact it was. Interesting note from that. We mentioned yesterday that Garrett Crochet near no-hitter against his former team, the White Sox. I didn't see this yesterday, but that no-no, Jeff, was broken up by Chase Medroth.
Oh, you don't say. Chase, huh?
It's one of the guys he was traded for.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
How
fun.
about that?
All
Here
right.
we go. They got traded. Okay. And he said, they asked Garrett about it afterwards. He goes, yeah, I thought that was pretty ironic, too. He said, I noticed it. I mean, I don't have much of a feeling about it. We still won the game. All is good. But, yeah, that's a really ironic twist to breaking up a no-hitter. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Nellis Harina asked about John Gray. I also looked up Nellis Harina and what it translates to. Harina means flour, but it can be slang for dough, like money, cash money in the Dominican. So we're getting there.
I remember when
if you want to cue us in a little bit more, feel free. I think it might also be a song.
Yeah, and I remember when when poor Corey Seager had to miss an extended period because of a harina.
He's had 2 harinas.
He's had 2 harinas.
God dang it. John Gray, the update on John Gray. It's been a couple weeks since I saw John Gray. And
we should see him this week.
Yeah, he said he was going to get. He should be getting a scan this week. If all's good with the scan, then he moves another step closer to whatever is next in his rehab process. He was in good spirits, considering, and he felt really good about his spring and feels like he still has a chance to come back and do some good things this season. So, but it's still going to be a while. It's still June, July for John Gray to get back on the mound.
Yeah,
or get back to the Rangers.
To the Rangers, because it's just such a long buildup. Yeah. I mean, it's basically okay. Now you're healthy. Go have spring training.
Yeah, if it had broken his left arm, still would have sucked. But he could be keeping that arm active and doing some form of throwing and whatnot. But he's not doing anything now, and hopefully, the Cody Bradford, he had hoped to play catch last week for the first time, so hopefully that happened. The Rosario thing, and I've asked about it, and Evan wrote about it too. It's a mystery. They're not really.
Yeah, they aren't saying
why.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's a matter of timing when they want to time this thing out. You'd think you want to get it done as soon as possible. So I wonder if there's something more extensive.
Maybe they're not current on their insurance.
Yeah, maybe they're. They
we got to get that insurance premium in.
They need to call Globe Life and see if they can get that taken care of. But and the thing is, I have Alejandro's number. I should just call him and say what the hell's going on. But I don't know. He's probably under strict orders to not say anything about it if contacted by.
Do not answer Jeff Wilson's calls.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, so I don't know, but he's not going to pitch this year.
No, sadly. And really what this does right now, this delay pushes him back probably till the All-Star break of next year.
I mean, the soonest. It happened in February.
I know it.
So it seems like this is really it's very curious.
Yeah, I mean, because we're now in remember that, Jacob deGrom last year when he had Tommy John, he was he only came back, what was it, in August and September. So that's what we're looking at timing-wise now. We're well into April. If Rosario has it now, we're looking at August or September next year for him to be ready to pitch. So, this delay hasn't been great, but there must be a reason. And by God, we're going to be out there this week, and we're going to try to find out, aren't we?
That's right.
Padres are 10-0 at home. 10-0. They say you're supposed to win 50% of your games on the road. The Padres are 3-3 on the road.
Yeah.
And they're 10-0 at home.
Yeah.
If you win 50% of your games, go 500 on the road, and win all your games at home, you're going to win. You're going to win something big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. That's great. Win your home games and go 500 on the road, and you're in a hell of a good shape.
Yeah, if you win them all.
Yeah.
All they really said, the rule of thumb is 2 out of 3 at home. And 500 on the road.
Right.
And you're a playoff team and you're a really good team.
Yeah.
And obviously they're not going to go 81-0 at home. But apparently understandably, the vibe right now in San Diego, which is just truly one of the great ballparks, one of the great settings in all of baseball. And that vibe is really strong in there right now.
Yeah. And teams are picking them to be not teams, procrastinators or preseason prognosticators. Yeah. Maybe they're procrastinators, but they were thinking, hey, this team's not going to be, maybe 4th best.
Yeah.
The Rockies are obviously going to be the worst in the NL West, but Diamondbacks loaded up on pitching, and maybe the Giants would be a little worse than the Padres, but you looked at all these playoff projections, like, well, the Padres aren't going to make it, and maybe some of that is the Dodgers winning the West and relegating the Padres to a wild card, but that I really think that Dodgers Padres division series last year was the series of the postseason.
Agreed.
I mean, it was great. I think whoever won that series was going to win the World Series. it was, that's a good Padres team. They have a really good lineup. They're going to get Yu Darvish back at some point. So the two kind of younger, inexperienced guys they have in the rotation, and one of them is going to go away. So, and AJ Preller is going to make some sort of trade at the deadline to upgrade the roster. So, I was always kind of bullish on the Padres.
Yeah. Former Rangers assistant general manager AJ Preller, and a guy we like. He's a really good guy. And you root for him. He's like a college friend of John Daniels.
Yeah, they were fraternity brothers.
In college. So pretty amazing the success that both have had. Although AJ hasn't quite gotten them, there yet.
Right.
But maybe this year it'd be fun because again, I predicted that the Dodgers, and I'm staying by it, they're not winning the World Series this year. I also did see, I think it was Nell again who said he hopes the Rangers, or she hopes the Rangers beats up on the Dodgers, especially on Roki. And as we all know, I root for his failure, Roki. He spurned the Rangers, and so by God, I'm with you, Nell. I'm with you. In particular, beat up on Roki this weekend at Globe Life Field. Okay, should be a fun week. Angels first, then the Dodgers. We're here tomorrow at 1.
1 o'clock all week.
1 o'clock.
Friday because we're off.
Oh, but not Thursday because we only do post-game.
Thursday night. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 1, and then post-game show on Thursday night. So stay up late with us. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow at 1 for another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.